If you think you don't lose any muscle during ketosis, whether you're doing the ketogenic diet or doing it with fasting, then you might want to think again. But you don't have to take my word for it, because I'm going to show you how you can figure this out for yourself. Now, some people may already be calculating this, but you might not be doing it the right way. For example, if you have an instrument that measures not just weight, but body composition, and you weigh in one day where it says 30% muscle, and a week later it still says 30% muscle, you may mistakenly believe that that means you haven't lost any muscle mass. But that couldn't be further from the truth. I'm Laura Carteret, Master of Science in Human Nutrition. Anyone who's new to my videos, if you're wondering why I started Food Facts Revealed, it's because there is so much misinformation out there about food, nutrition, and how to use it for health purposes. And if you're new to my videos, I created Food Facts Revealed so that people could get accurate, reliable information about nutrition, food, and nutritional supplements. Right now, the ketogenic diet is being sensationalized by so many people. I saw a doctor doing a YouTube video where he was convincing his audience that not only will you not lose any muscle during ketosis, but you can actually fast and not lose any muscle mass. Everybody is telling you things about the ketogenic diet, and then more often than not, they are just simply selling you products. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just going to give you some facts today about how to figure out for yourself whether or not you lose muscle when you're in ketosis. What I'm about to show you is a way to tell if you're losing muscle during ketosis. You can do it right at home. The first thing you're going to need is an instrument that measures not only just your body weight, but your body composition. The easiest way to do this, in my opinion, is to just buy a BIA scale, something like this. They're actually very affordable. And before anyone says, well, that's not the most accurate way to measure body fat, I want to tell you, I agree. However, for purposes of figuring out whether or not you're losing fat or muscle, it's very accurate. Why? Because if you use a scale at home and measure your body composition one day, jumping on that scale the next day is not going to give you completely different numbers. So for example, if this scale says you're 20% body fat, the next day it's not going to suddenly say you're 25. What would be inaccurate is if you jumped on this scale one day to measure your body composition, and then the next week you used a totally different instrument. That is not accurate. The key is to get yourself a scale and then just use that same instrument to measure your body fat every single week or month or however often you weigh in. Now, with that being said, these scales are actually very affordable. That one was well under $100. You can also spend well over $100 if you want to. Without further ado though, let's start talking about how you can accurately figure out if you're losing muscle in ketosis. You have one of these scales, and what they measure is not just weight, but also usually give you your BMI, the percentage of body fat that you have, the percentage of muscle that you have, the percentage of water, and often the percentage of bone. How much information the scale gives you depends on how much you spend on it. But those are the basic numbers that any BIA scale is probably going to give you. So let's figure out how to accurately assess what muscle mass we might be losing or maintaining. Let's just, for simplicity's sake, say you weigh 105 pounds. Now, I know, unless you're a child, you probably weigh a lot more than that. But it's just to keep the numbers simple. Okay, so you weigh in one day. You always want to weigh in before you do your diet, right? You want to find out where you're starting at. So you weigh yourself, it says 105 pounds. And for body fat, it says you're 20% body fat. And for muscle, it says you're 30% muscle. Now, a week later, you weigh in again. These are just hypothetical numbers. This doesn't mean if you weighed 105 pounds, this is what your percentages should be or would be in a week, okay? Just hypotheticals. But let's say a week later, you weigh in at 100 pounds. You're like, yeah, all right, I lost 5 pounds in a week. This is great. And you get on the scale. In addition to that, it told you you are now 15% body fat. And you're thinking, wow, I lost 5% of my body fat. And then it says you're still at 30% muscle. So you're thinking, wow, I lost pure fat. It works. I'm not losing any muscle. I burned pure fat. Well, this would be inaccurate. And the reason is you can't just look at the percentages. You have to understand what these percentages actually stand for. This is the percentage of your pounds that are muscle and fat. So to get an accurate assessment of how much fat and muscle you've lost, you have to take the percentage of body fat in pounds. So let me just erase these numbers for a minute. So at the beginning, you were 105 pounds and 20% fat. To figure out how many pounds of fat you actually had on your body, you have to multiply the 105 by 20%. And when we do that, you're going to get 21 pounds. So you had 21 pounds of fat, 20% of the 105. For muscle, you have to take the 105 pounds and multiply it by 30%. And what you're going to get is 31.5 pounds of muscle. This is where you started. Now, a week later, you measured yourself again, your body composition, got on the scale, and 15% body fat, 30% muscle. Well, now you weigh 100 pounds, so the math is really easy, okay? 15% body fat would be 15 pounds. And you're thinking, awesome. I had 21 pounds of fat on me before. I lost 6 pounds of fat. That would be accurate. I'm still 30% muscle. So now I have 30 pounds of muscle. But I started at 31.5. So I did lose muscle. I lost 1.5 pounds of muscle. And that was in 1 week. And this is just a hypothetical. So if you actually weigh in the next week and this number, the percentage of your muscle went down to say 28%, well, then this would mean that you only have 28 pounds of muscle and you've actually lost 3.5 pounds of muscle, along with the 6 pounds of fat. Now again, in the ketogenic state, in ketosis, you will lose much more fat than muscle, as I demonstrated in my video on the ketogenic diet, which, by the way, the only reason I did that video is not to promote or encourage the use of the ketogenic diet by anyone without first, getting advice from a doctor or another professional who knows about the ketogenic diet. But it was because I was getting asked many questions on it. So I felt, as a duty, I should put some information out there to at least show what it is and how to do it. A general overview is what that was. But this is one of the misconceptions that is being sold to people online, that you're not going to lose any muscle. You don't have to believe me. You now know how to figure it out for yourself. Trust me when I tell you this, people. There have been many diets sensationalized in the past. This is the trend that has been going on for decades. People use them, they successfully lose weight, and then years later, they put all the weight back on. It's the same old thing going on now. Can the ketogenic diet be used for some amazing things in medical therapy? Absolutely. There is some fascinating research. In future videos, I'm not only going to cover some more misconceptions about this diet, but I'm going to talk about some of those fascinating uses that are being utilized on people who have Alzheimer's, of course, epilepsy. It's been used for years, and different treatments. Weight loss, it's always been effective. But again, you have to decide if this is something that's sustainable. because the best way to lose weight is to make changes that are sustainable for a lifetime. It is the only way we are going to reverse the obesity epidemic. This should not be turned into a fad diet. This is a medicinal diet that should be used for medical purposes. Remember, the best way to lose weight and keep it off is to start transitioning to a whole foods diet. So until next time, love yourself enough to eat whole foods. Eat real food.